Hi everyone. Welcome to part 8 of latest oral examination questions, and I thought that I should keep sharing these questions with you because it will really benefit you if you are going for orals examination. So these are again questions I have received from students in Australia, India, UK, and Singapore, and I've kind of compiled the commonly asked questions, and I'll give you some more tips on how to go about it. I won't discuss the answers in detail in these videos because I feel I have answered most of these questions in my videos, and you can find those videos on my channel. However, if there are any videos or any questions which I have not answered, I'll make sure that I make a video on it soon. Alright, for now, I just want to pass on these questions to you. So let's get started here today. So the recently one of the students was asked questions about latitude by meridian altitude. Why do you use this method? What do you get out of it? And what is the procedure of doing so at sea? And a longitude by chronometer method as well. So make sure that you watch my videos on celestial navigation. I keep answering these questions, and the student says that only basic questions were asked, like what time to take and what do you obtain. So he was not asked to solve the problems. You don't have to solve the problems in front of the surveyor. All you have to answer is why do you need these methods and what information you get out of it. What is the advantage of using these methods? ECDIS safety settings and the purpose of the ECDIS safety settings was used. I have to start making videos on ECDIS. I'm just not getting access to the ECDIS lab right now because of COVID, and there are certain protocols we have to follow. But as soon as I get access to it, I will start making videos on it. I have been talking to the people concerned, and I will work on it. GPS working errors. So GPS, how does a GPS work? What's the basis of the working of a GPS, and what are the errors the GPS is prone to? What action would you take if you see a rocket flare in the sky? So this is all about rescue operations and rescue procedure, and especially if you are going there as a second mate, you have to basically call the master and then assist the master as required. But in terms of documentation, what do you do? How do you correspond with the rescue coordination center? So you have to include everything. So not only proceeding for the rescue, but also coordinating with the rescue coordination center and finding out if there is any operation like that going on at sea. There are more points to this. I don't want to take up too much of your time here in this video, otherwise it will become very long. Then questions were asked regarding Williamson Turn, and where do you get information about Williamson Turn? So you get it from the IMSAR manual. See, the IMSAR manual stands for the International Aeronautical Maritime Search and Rescue Manual. So volume 3, I think, gives you details about the different turns you can employ if you want to rescue persons at sea or persons overboard, lost at sea. Relieving officer did not come on bridge. What action would you take? So if the relieving officer doesn't come on bridge on time, what would you do? So naturally, as a second mate or a third mate, the first thing you will do is call master, and then try to find out where this person is. If he's on board, maybe if he's intoxicated or asleep or simply maybe stuck somewhere, find him. If you can't find him on board, then is there been a man overboard situation? When was the person last seen? And what kind of turn you will initiate to look for that person. So you have to go into those areas as well, but start off by assuming that he might be on board and not in a condition to keep the watch. Then why is that? But you have to call the master. The first action has to be to call the master. Sextant errors, I have made videos on that, so I don't want to talk about that. So in sextant errors, you have adjustable errors and non-adjustable errors. Make sure you talk about both. How do you calculate index error? I have a video on that as well. Please make sure you watch the video on how to calculate the index error. The principles of the working principle of a gyro compass, I have videos on that as well. I have about 10 videos on gyro compass. So depending on whether you are going for second mates, maced or masters orals, please make sure you watch all the 10 videos and get not only a basic but an advanced understanding of the gyro as well. Gyro compass is a complicated topic, and that's why I have made 10 separate videos on it, depending on how advanced you want to go into it. Alright, then of course the few ROR cards were shown. I have made more than 28 videos on ROR cards. I have discussed enough on it. So rule of the road cards, situations, and you have to identify the situations and the action that you will be taking. So these cards that were shown were regarding fishing vessel, trawlers, towing vessel, and restricted in her ability to maneuver. Then cards were shown regarding lateral marks and special marks in boys. Make sure you do your boys, guys, because boys is very important. Make sure you do that. All right. Then we have questions regarding angle of loll and its corrections, discharge criteria of cargo space bilges, and then slop tanks and SOPEP requirements on ships. Then questions goes on to ask about SOx and NOx emissions, control methods, and areas that are covered by SOx and NOx emissions. How do you calculate the percentage of the SOx and NOx emissions? Then a little bit about SOLAS and the chapters and what all does SOLAS cover. New amendments required as per Annex 5 of MARPOL, so that would be garbage. Make sure you read up on your M notices or MNES notices, whichever is applicable to you. The procedure for launching and recovery of lifeboats, intact stability criteria for cargo vessels and grain vessels. Then what are D1 and D2 methods? This is with regarding to ballast water management. So please read up on ballast water management, and the explanation is there for D1 and D2. Then talking about P&I, what is P&I and what is it used for? How does it help? When to approach P&I, and what is the role of P&I? So have a read about P&I as well. I should probably make videos on P&I. I'm not sure whether I made it or not. Can't remember. All right. How can you identify that your vessel is ready for on-load release of lifeboats? And the next question is, if your vessel is on fire and there's a lot of smoke, enclosed lifeboats, how do you know at what height do you launch the lifeboat on load? Alright, so on load means when you are away from water at about a meter or so. How will you determine that you can launch it on load release system? Alright, then fire in galley, how would you go about it, and what are some of the precautions you will observe? Then the next fire was in pump room fire. So galley fire was asked in Singapore, and pump room fire was asked in UK. So that's why both the fire situations are there. I've compiled the questions. Then Annex 3 of MARPOL was asked as well, and then the definitions of gross tonnage, dead weight, and displacement, and the difference between all three was asked as well. Alright, so these are some of the questions. As I keep getting questions, I will pass it on to you guys at the soonest. The idea here is that you should have a bank of questions that you should use, and make sure you know the answers to these questions before you go for orals. Alright, so I'll keep this video short now. I'll see you soon with my next video, guys. Thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting the channel. Good luck with your studies, and I'll see you soon.